Hey, what's up guys? Here's the video I promised you. We are diving into more teams composition with Nicole and Prum, along with Arlecchino, Venti, and several other characters. If you liked the video or found it helpful, please consider subscribing. That really helps the channel. Just to be clear everyone, I have a fit standard in my calculations that hasn't changed for years. Please don't compare the numbers you see on other channels with mine because we are not using the same criteria. I've seen comments where people assume things just because they watch on another channel. You can't compare two completely different standards. Let's get started with a quick reminder. Nicole's strongest points are: the on-field character is a headset unit, the team has a headset resonance, and the damage comes from multiple team members. We will be using this at the end of the video. Now, a lot of people were asking about Arlecchino. The male teams she can run with Chilonen, Citlali, and Bennett give us a DPS of 109.6k, which is pretty massive considering she does almost all the damage by herself. When we add Nicole, we have to remember that Arlecchino is not a headset character, so it's not ideal. I tried an overload team, Arlecchino, Fischl, Chasca, and Nicole, but it was a bad idea. It only reached 77.5k DPS. However, things change when we bring Prum, Sisitz, and Durin. There's an actual synergy here between Prum, Nicole, Durin, and the on-field character. Prum with Viridescent Venator, Nicole with Celestial Gift, and Durin with Rising Winds. Even though Arlecchino is in headset and we can't fully take advantage of everything, we still hit 110.7k on DPS. That is actually a little bit higher than Arlecchino, Chilonen, and Citlali's Bennett's team. So there's now a new best team for Arlecchino, although only by a small margin. And that team is very similar to one we already did with Barca. But we can also replace Barca with Venti. In this case, Venti will use Rising Winds, not Viridescent, that's for Prum. Since Venti is a headset character, we get the full benefit of Nicole's strong passive. The team's DPS goes up to 111.9k, and that is a very strong improvement when you consider that without Prum and Nicole, Venti, Jen, Furina, and Durin only gave us 83.9k. So yeah, now you know Venti mains. Now remember Klee? Let's talk about her because she is a headset character. Previously I did some math with Klee, Fischl, Chasca, and Durin, and it gave us 81.8k or 93.1k if Klee is C1. But when we run Klee, Fischl, Nicole, and Durin, we get 98.1k DPS at C0, almost hitting 100k, and if Klee is C1, it jumps to 112.4k DPS. That puts her among the top pyro DPS in the game alongside Arlecchino and Mabuika, but only at C1. Then, just out of curiosity, I tried Klee with Prum, Nicole, and Durin. Guys, at C0, this team does 122.1k DPS. So yes, Klee will be the best pyro DPS in the game in 6.6. And at C1, 131.1k DPS. So it's an insane increase. And let's keep going. The new racer with Bennett, Chasca, and Durin was only doing 70.3k, which is pretty low. Swapping Fischl in instead of Bennett got it to 75.5k. Better, but still low. But when we run Razor, Chasca, Nicole, and Durin, jumps to 109.4k. So it's a massive increase, just like we've seen with Klee, Venti, and Barca. We've seen a clear pattern here. Headset characters benefit enormously from Nicole. Well, from Prums too. You might have noticed that with Arlecchino, the DPS went up, but not as dramatically as with others. The same thing happens with Kinich, Varesa, and Mabuika. If the on-field character is in headset, Nicole still provides an increase, especially with Pums, but might not be worth it. As you see in other examples, it actually went down. Another example, Chasca. My previous best was around 115k to 120k with Mona, Inefa and Durin. But a team with Chasca, Jensen, Nicole and Durin felt like it should do a big damage. Instead, it dropped to 107.3k. I thought swapping Jensen for Fischl would help, but it actually went down. 92.3k. So I don't recommend using Nicole with Chasca at C0. At C1 though, those teams should perform much better. Overall, I think Mona, Inefa and Durin still do a better job at C0. Obviously there are many more teams, but once you know the character's DPS and understand how Nicole works, you can already tell if she's worth using or not. I'll repeat what I said at the beginning. Nicole is great when 1. The on-field character is headsetted. 2. There's headsetted resonance in the team. And 3. The team's damage comes from multiple characters. Characters like Navia, Wanderer, Hutaos, Clorande, Xiao, pure non-headsetted characters might see a small increase if 2 conditions are met, but it's usually not worth it if only 1 condition is fulfilled. And that's it guys, it couldn't be simpler. That's all for now. Thank you so much for your time and support. I'm preparing another video, so see you in the next one.